Hello, everybody. It is I, Jesse, aka Survival Punk, aka the Wide Guard, aka, oh no, it's that guy. It's been about a week since the Stranger Things Chapter 2 patch has been released into Dead by Daylight, and I decided that I'm going to give you a little video on my thoughts and feelings about the new changes now that they have hit live. Additionally, I'm working on 3 projects that I am very passionate about, but unfortunately, neither of them are ready for release, so this gives me a chance to give you guys something to watch in the meantime. So without further ado, here is my thoughts on the Stranger Things 9.4 official release. Starting with, of course, somberly, the death of Steagull. May he rest in peace. You see, as it turns out, the community's fears during the 9.4 PTB have come to be realized. They did, in fact, find new voice actors for both Nancy and Steve, which of course means new screams for these characters, thusly killing Steagall. Steagull, or Steagall, whichever you prefer, has been an ongoing meme for a very, very long time in Dead by Daylight. Stranger Things Chapter 1 was the second licensed chapter the game ever had, after all. So, suffice it to say, it was a very beloved and famous, if not, depending on who you ask, a very hated and infamous meme throughout the game's history, and will leave a lasting mark on this game's legacy, for sure. Now, tragic as this may be, and as much as it pains my soul, this is ultimately probably for the best, due to the fact that now the characters have actual voice lines, including voice lines where they interact with other Stranger Things characters, as well as Vecna himself. Now, I would like to point out real quick that Steagull isn't completely dead. Behavior, at the very least, in honor of the meme, made it to where his original scream will slip through from time to time with the new screams, but still, this does in fact kill the meme, and I'll be honest, I'm gonna miss that screaming little fella. Oh, and to those who are jumping with joy that the annoying Steagulls are gone, be careful what you wish for. Monkey's Paw is a bitch. Now, I know what you're all wondering. With Steagull gone, who's the next contender for most efficient and annoying scene partner user? Now, of course, the obvious choices would be Steagull or Lisa. But personally, I would like to throw my hat into the ring and suggest the new contender. I am, of course, referring to, fitting enough, Robin from Stranger Things, or as the community has quickly adopted to calling her, Squawkin' Robin, for obvious reasons. I mean, just listen to those pipes. Music to my ears. Moving on to the next subject on our docket, I would like to point out that the behavior live stream that they did recently, the one coinciding with the actual release of the patch, went off without a hitch, and to that, I have to give behavior props. Not only was it fine and informative, not only did it have no technical issues, but nobody said anything outright butt-fuckingly stupid. Mind you, they did accomplish this by blatantly using, if not completely utilizing, pre-recorded conversations. But hey, progress is progress, and a win's a win. I'm just happy we had a live stream that wasn't absolute booty cheeks. Moving on, Another little surprise that behavior had in store for us that I certainly wasn't expecting is, of course, the additional Vecna skin that he got on release. Not only are we gifted with Vecna as a crackhead, but we also got Vecna as, well, just a guy. But, jokes aside, I actually really love this skin. It gives me real Children of the Corn, Isaac Kroner type vibes, you know? Like a Mormon missionary meets evil cult leader type of deal. But I digress. So, with my little side tangents out of the way, we can finally move on to some subjects with more substance. I am, of course, referring to the changes that were made from the PTB to live. To which, there really wasn't that many changes. I'll start with what they did to Vecna. Change number 1, Undergate cooldown. After completing the Undergate exit animation, the killer now enters a 1-second cooldown where attacks and interactions are disabled. Now, this doesn't seem like the biggest change, but I'll tell you, you definitely feel it playing Vecna. It doesn't feel like it was necessary personally to me, but at the same time, it doesn't hurt him too hard in the grand scheme of things, and is probably for the best, making it more difficult to zoom across the map and being able to immediately attack your enemy upon exiting the Undergate. To which, let's be honest, that's 9 times out of 10 all you're using the Undergate for anyways. The Undergate attack itself is very hard to land, and as even the developers themselves promptly state within the recent livestream itself, referring to the Undergate attack, its difficulty is very much on purpose, and if you want to land the attack, you gotta get sneaky with it. That is by design. That being said, a change I would love to see with Vecna, and I'm not the first person to mention this, but I do think it's a good idea, would be making the Undergate attack itself chargeable. Similar to Venture from Overwatch 2. That way, Vecna can choose between charging it out for the Undergate attack itself, or ending it early to pop out with a reduced cooldown to the anti-attack effect, allowing him to chase survivors faster upon exiting the traversal. Sort of meet it in the middle, if you will. But that being said, Vecna is strong enough that this doesn't actually harm him too bad. Moving on to a second change, they increased the cancel cooldown for the Vine attack from 1.25 seconds to 1.5 seconds to reduce his zoning potential. This doesn't sound like a big change, but boy, do you feel it. This honestly drops Vecna's power level considerably. I still truly believe he's probably the 3rd strongest killer in the game right now, if not at least the 4th strongest killer in the game right now. But after this, anybody who truly, unironically, believes he is stronger than Nerfs, no offense, but y'all need a reality check or something. Touch grass. I don't know. And real quick, since we're talking about game changes, behavior, why the fuck are we completely ignoring Demogorgon? Not only is he one of the oldest killers in the game, but he's the 2nd oldest licensed killer. Demogorgon has more issues than I can count on my fingers and toes if I had 4 arms and 6 legs. His power is janky, he's power crept to all hell, and he's littered with game-breaking bugs. You would really think that with a Stranger Things Chapter 2, you would show him at least a little bit of love. Come on. Moving on, I'm gonna cover perk changes, to which there really wasn't much. Turn Back the Clock did not receive its necessary buffs that I suggested in my last video. And as I can confirm for you, it still requires line of sight.
So the perk is dead on arrival. Ignore it. I still see some Vecnas and other killers trying to use it. It's a trap. Stop. Seriously. Until this gets its necessary buffs, it's just a dead perk. Don't waste your time. As for the survivor perks, bada boom and change of plan were not nerfed. Yes, those two perks entered live as is. Seriously, behavior, I don't know what the fuck you're smoking sometimes. The only silver lining to this is the perks will inevitably, more likely than not, get nerfed due to how overloaded they are. But knowing behavior's track record, that's like a year, maybe 2 from now. And by then, they're gonna get power crept anyways, so it doesn't even matter. On the bright side, though, Secret Plan was also untouched. So we officially have the strongest, most well-designed, most well-balanced killer perk to come out in a very, very long time. A perk that honestly might be my new favorite perk. And I can't wait to do a video on some of the builds you can do with this perk. Something I do plan on doing within the future. And, well, that's it for perks. Surprise! There were no perk changes at all, which was the actual shock of this outcome. Primarily due to the fact that A, we had a perk that was absolute dog shit and needed buffed, turned back to clock. B, we had 2 survivor perks that were way too overloaded and needed nerfed, not getting the nerfs they should have gotten. But contradictively and paradoxically, their decision to do nothing somehow circled back into the best decision they could have made, if for no other reason than Secret Plan also being untouched. Now, since we're on the subject of perks, I do want to cover one perk in particular a little better than I did last video. You see, I got a couple of private messages from some of my viewers as well as from a friend regarding the 11 perk We See You. More specifically, questioning why I didn't consider the perk broken or unbalanced due to its ability to inform a survivor when the killer can see them. Let me explain. Yes, when the killer sees the survivor's aura, the survivor gets a token, so therefore, you know when you're revealed. But that's not as big of a deal as you would think. Here's why. 1. Killers almost always have some kind of aura reading perk or at least an info perk, such as Spies in the Shadows or Thrilling Tremors. It is to be expected, and all you have to do to figure out what they're using, outside of obvious effects like Thrilling Tremors, of course, is pay attention to how they are playing. For example, if a killer kicks a generator and immediately susses out where a survivor is hiding, odds are real good they're using nowhere to hide. You see, all this perk really does is expedite that process. Sure, the token tells you when you're revealed, but the moment you know how you're revealed, it really doesn't matter. For example, if the killer is using Friends Till the End, Nemesis combo, you're going to know pretty early how he is farming aura reads. How? Well, if the killer hooks someone and the obsession screams, or if he hooks the obsession and the obsession changes, you know he's running that combo. Alternatively, if the killer is someone like Vecna from Stranger Things or Pyramid Head, and they're making blind shots through walls very accurately mid-chase or after chase, it is very easy to assume they're using I'm All Ears or Predator. Reason number 2 this perk isn't as strong as you would think is it is null and void due to Discord buff. It doesn't really matter if I know the killer can see me or not, if I know he dropped chase at Shack and is heading my way thanks to a friend informing me. Additionally, all it takes is one person in a swift to clock that the killer is using barbecue and chili. And now we all know he has barbecue and chili, and if we figure out that the rest of the build is chase perks, like let's say Bamboozle, for example, then we know his barbecue is the only info perk to worry about, and that we need to play around it by playing close to them when they are hooking or hiding in lockers before he hooks. Third reason, if the killer didn't bring Aura Read, for example, they may have brought Spies in the Shadows as their only information perk, you have effectively brought a dead perk. Unless, of course, you bring Object of Obsession in order to force Aura Reads between you and the killer. To which I would say that's fair and balanced due to the fact that you're dedicating 2 perk slots for an effect that is 100% replicatable with simply downloading Discord and inviting a friend to play with you. Now, this is by no means a bad perk. In fact, if I remember straight, I'm pretty sure in my last video I called it good, but I don't consider it broken. It's just a info perk meant to help solo survivors. And honestly, they need all the love they can get. Now, I would have gone in more in-depth detail in my last video, but it was already running over 40 minutes, and I really wanted to finish that video under the 50-minute mark. So, here we are. And finally, the last thing I would like to mention in terms of the Stranger Things perks is I would like to take back some slight slander I slung towards the 11 perk Extra Sensory. It is by no means overpowered, but after experiencing some extreme rat plays recently while watching the streams of other content creators, I will say it's not exactly as mid as I originally thought. Especially in the case of endgame scenarios where you are the final survivor left. Not only due to the fact that it is very useful when trying to sneak an exit gate, but assuming the hatch is still in play, the perk also reveals the aura of the hatch, making it much easier to find. In fact, one of these moments was a unironic hatch standoff in 2026. That's right, you heard me correctly. A hatch standoff in 2026, where a blight, for roughly 40 minutes or so, sat on top of the open hatch, unwilling to close it. Why? Because he knew the 11 had a key capable of opening hatch. So if he closed it and walked away, she'd open hatch. But if he closed it and sat on hatch, she'd simply open the door. So he sat on the open hatch. But the 11, using Extra Sensory, could just sit 3 rooms away and check occasionally if the killer was still sitting on hatch. They did this for nearly an hour. 50 minutes or so of pure, unadulterated cringe.
Oh, you're right. She would have to finish the gen. Oh my god. This is a legit hatch standoff. Alright guys, you heard it here first. Just make the key an instant open again. Remember to buy your Pampers Premiums, guys. I don't know if crows appear in this situation. Hatch standoff in 2036, we have surely fallen. We have indeed.
Don't fucking look at me like that. That's a weird look.
That curiosity. If she does the last generator, he's blight. He'll instantly be on top of her in 2 seconds, and then she's dead, right? So it's quite literally like one of them has to admit to losing. That's really what the issue is here. Like, she either has to say, okay, I'm willing to take the loss, which is an actual loss for her. So if anything, there's a little bit more on the line. He's already won the game. He just wants to win it more. So it's a little bit more cringe on his part. He's also blight. So that makes it even more cringe. So they're both cringe, honestly. Sure, the blight is a bit more cringe due to already winning, but you can argue she already lost. Shitty diver time, am I right? Yeah, this is why it's best to just avoid these situations instantly, right? Because then it becomes a sunken cost where you're both like, well, I've already dedicated too much time. I'm not gonna let this piece of shit fucking piss me off, you know? There won't be an in-game chat because the server will go. He's like still actively checking too.
Shithead! Don't ever underestimate me!
It's alright. Easy victory. My god. Look at him, guys. Look at him. 20 minutes left, boys. Let's go. 20 minutes. Only 20, only 20. How far are they gonna go? They're gonna let the server collapse. The pettiness is just, you can cut it with a knife, it's so thick. I've seen this happen in real life when I was in America, by the way. There was this situation where, you know how like sometimes McDonald's has 2 drive-thrus to just ram as much cheekage into the drive-through line as they can. So they have like 2 lines that converge and you have to merge. And 2 fatties got like into the fucking merge lane with each other. And both of them thought that they had the right of way, and they were both just sitting there just fucking like pissed off at each other for like 30 minutes screaming, but they both refused to move. I don't remember. I think I left. Because I usually don't go through the drive-thru, so luckily it didn't affect me. It was just funny to watch. Damn. Wrecked. Oh, dude. He instantly... Dude, they don't even have anything to say. It's like they don't even have anything to say about it. They're just like, okay. I guess it really just meant that much.
Honestly, I'm just blown away by the fact that this is happening in 2026. Are we this toxic, guys? Is winning that important that we're going to hold each other hostage over hatches in 2026? Something that I didn't even think was fucking possible anymore. But I guess if you're in the middle of the winter solstice and the stars align and the humors balance, both players' computers are perfectly set up above a ley line, and the feng shui of Cheeto dust and Mountain Dew cans is just right, hatch standoffs very much can happen. And with that, as you can probably guess, this video will be coming to an end. But before I leave you, there is one last parting bit of information I would like to throw your way. And that's, well, if you are as broken up as I am over the loss of Steagull, good news! There are several petitions that you can sign online right now at change.org to bring Steve's original Scream back to the game. Now, I'm not sure how much of a difference this would actually make, and if I was a betting man, I would say none. But hey, might be worth a shot.
And with that, be sure to like, follow, subscribe, hit that bell, get in the comments, and if you want to sign those petitions, links will be in the description below. Till next time, see ya.